events and content to come.
Yeah, I guess there is, isn't there?
Don't know how, but I guess there can be.
This is Two Fat Guys Talk, a podcast within a podcast within a shirt. I am Carlos.
This is Dave.
This is episode something, and it's that time again. Davaniel.
It's episode 109, and this is our pre-E3 coverage for 2019.
The Electronic 3 have returned once more.
Kinda.
Not really. We must defeat them for the sake of all. And yeah, E3, the event that never fails to actually mostly disappoint me with a couple of highlights. Consistently every year.
Pretty much.
Last year, I wanted to do positivity. This year, we haven't circled quite back to cynicism, but I'm going to call it optimistic cynicism.
I mean, last year, Sony definitely shit the bed.
Immensely.
Now, one might argue that they are, by default, shitting the bed because they took their bed and went home this year.
I will say their Sony Not Directs, there have been two so far. While the first one sucked, the second one was a lot better, and I think they found their stride a bit. And I would be surprised if we didn't have something like it during E3.
Wait. So what you mean is Nintendo's formula, they've optimized over many directs of just showing the games. Sony has now copied and it's doing well.
It's better than what they did last year, though. It might be obvious, but I think it needs to be stated. Because that Sony presentation last year was a fucking travesty.
There hasn't been as big of a bomb since Microsoft tried to do the reveal for the Xbox One.
Yeah. Here's all the ways this game system is going to fuck you. They've been trying to repair the goodwill they pissed away ever since. Doing a fairly good job.
Well, I mean, that was Microsoft's oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Sony's last oh shit moment had been when they revealed the PS3 and said, you're going to pay $800 and fucking like it, you scrubs.
That and their lax plain text security that really put a damper on having a Sony account for a while. Microsoft is an interesting one because they've been doing a lot of right moves, even as far as giant corporations go, like the adaptive controller. Awesome move. Saying that even multi-console games play better on their console. Smart idea in a multi-platform world. Yeah, even releasing games on Nintendo hardware, like Cuphead. Mm-hmm. Seems like a decent move. To that end, well, actually, before I go out on a limb with wild predictions out of nowhere, should we talk about Microsoft first, then?
Well, let's just mention what groups are coming to E3 this year.
Okay, so no idea if Sony is going to have one of their not directs. We do know Nintendo is having a direct. Devolver Digital is doing their not E3 thing, which is going to probably be the best thing of the show yet again.
So Microsoft is having its own thing.
Yeah.
They're not having their actual presentation at E3. It'll be nearby at their own place.
Really? They're not even going to E3?
No.
Okay.
Just like last year. It wasn't actually at E3. It was at their own rented area.
I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah. E3, and this is kind of the reason why we're doing this year, is E3 is becoming less and less relevant. Not because, game reveals aren't happening or that, game reveals are happening all year now versus being exclusively at E3 and the one Sony show in Japan. But it's becoming less relevant because, honestly, E3 is charging way too much for what's happening. So it's not surprising that Sony did their own thing last year. Microsoft is doing their own thing. It seems to be the small shows that are still willing to pay into E3's conglomerate, if you will.
Except Devolver, which has collectively given E3 the finger.
Oh, has Devolver done that too?
Oh, that's the reason Devolver holds their show like they tried to hold their show near E3, but I guess E3 has buddies in what's that city they're in? Los Angeles, right? Like they got the Los Angeles zoning to bar Devolver from being near them. So
Really?
something like
See,
that.
I didn't know that.
There's some history there.
So we got Microsoft, which has their show on Sunday, June 9th.
Okay, let's talk first about Microsoft. Microsoft has been playing nice, I think. Ish. What? Here are my predictions and my out there hopes. Okay, sure. Can I do that, and then you'll do yours?
Yeah.
Okay. I predict a lot of games that are experiences that are just low key really sad, which I hate. At least one mediocre zombie trailer. A surprise out of nowhere Devil May Cry 5 style trailer that's either a long awaited sequel we weren't expecting or something new that looks absolutely amazing, possibly involving Platinum. And we might get some inkling of what their next gen stuff is, considering that Sony did that whole PlayStation 5 non-announcement, and we might get some idea of what the future holds for Microsoft. They've been talking about games as a service a lot and how they want Xbox to be a brand available on anything and not necessarily just a Microsoft console. So we might see some ideas there. What would be out of left field, but maybe not, would be some kind of Nintendo representation at their presentation. The real out there thing is Smash Ultimate on Xbox One. If that happened, that would be enormous. E3 would lose its fucking mind. Even a Mario game would be so out of left field, but it would change the talk going around E3, and that's secretly what I kind of hope happens.
Okay. Mine's going to be a little bit more down to earth, because I am the logical one.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see more of Microsoft's games as a service idea.
Yeah.
Which I give a big middle finger to Microsoft for, because I want to own my shit, not rent. I think we're going to see more of them pushing the PC side of things for, again, the same reason. They want Windows 10 to become a operating system you pay by month or by year. Operating system for service sort of stuff, just like their Office 365 stuff. We're going to see more Battletoads this year.
What about Battletoads?
I'm not expecting anything big from the Microsoft Nintendo camp. I don't think Nintendo is really interested in giving up its first-party titles at all. So no Mario, no Smash Brothers, no Metroid. I'm sure they'll be quite willing to do the third-party stuff back and forth. I mean, Cuphead was a big thing because that was exclusive to Xbox. But Microsoft, as far as their third-party stuff goes, they're quite willing to shop that around because it makes them money. That's not, it's not your Halo. It's not your Gears of War kind of stuff. Microsoft will probably not reveal their new system yet. I'm pretty sure they want Sony to reveal more information so that they can announce they have more petaflops and more bandwidth. And I'm pretty sure Microsoft still wants to go with a digital-only system. I'm hoping Microsoft has come to realize that the market is not ready for it. It really isn't. They just recently released a digital-only version of the Xbox One. The Xbox One S Digital Edition. And that's great. But until we have a global internet system that you can do perfect internet anywhere in the world, digital only is not going to work. It'll be a console only for the rich and wealthy.
I definitely want to draw a line between digital games and like streaming games. Obviously, when I say games as a service, or when anyone says it, we're talking about more that you're licensing games, but you're still getting them locally served in your device's RAM.
Well, and this is what's kind of funny. Microsoft has already learned this lesson. They watched Sony fail at its PlayStation Now stuff. How many years between the 360 and the Xbox One did we hear about? Oh yeah, everything's happening. All the special stuff is happening on our cloud servers and everything else. Look what happened to freaking Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3, half of what was happening in that game was supposed to run off their cloud servers for the building destruction and everything else. And look what happened. It sucked. They ended up not using it really. And it was just a total farce. So I don't see Microsoft going back to a streaming service. Digital only? Sure, but not streaming. Sony will probably completely get rid of the streaming stuff here soon as well. And Nintendo just isn't going to go there. Because it would be stupid too. So that's my Microsoft thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, Battletoads is one I forgot about. I wouldn't be surprised if they show it and then it's like, it's out now. It's definitely been a year, especially if it's a smaller title. And when I hope it's out now, I mean, I also hope it's out for Switch. Because I'm such a two-face, I hated the Switch and now I love it. And I as much as I kind of want Microsoft to succeed here, I still don't want to have to buy an Xbox One. So
well, you wouldn't have to. You just play it on PC.
I need to get a new PC or steal your Xbox One and say that the Gremlins did it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Who's next? Devolver's that night as well, right?
Well, keep in mind that the articles I'm looking at don't list Devolver at all.
Oh, sure, but fuck him. So Devolver, what articles are you looking at? What site? We should probably mention that.
I had to search on E3 2019, so I ended up at Kotaku.
Okay, so we're getting the dates from Kotaku. You know, stop clocks right twice a day. They do something right for once. Let's talk about Devolver. Devolver is going to have a funny stream. If people have seen the Devolver's Weedcraft trailer, they know that Nina Struthers is alive again. And in fact, still awesome. She still swears up a storm. She's still... the actor who plays her is Maria Zook. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Incredibly awesome human being, actually. And Nina Struthers is easily my favorite character that she's played. I cannot wait to see that just for the entertainment value. If the last 2 years are any indicator, they will announce 3 games. And if last year's any indicator, the last game will be a doozy. So I'm kind of hoping that last game is something that nobody's expecting. I just don't have anything in mind of what it could possibly be.
I guess finally we're going to see, what is it, Metal Wolf?
Metal Wolf Chaos, yeah. Which got delayed. It should have released last year. Maybe they'll show some more about it in their thing, or maybe
that'll be Digital Devolver's It's Out Now.
Devolver Digital, yes. It could be. It's like, finally it's out, now play it. So it's kind of cheating since they did that last year, but I don't care. I love Devolver's presentation.
Yeah.
What do you think the death count is going to be this year?
At least 30.
Now, last year, I think the only person who really... There's a guy who that Nina Struthers lit on fire.
Yeah.
There was Nina's son who got beaten to death by her order. And then there was Nina herself, but she got better.
I guess let's go with 5.
5's a healthy number.
Healthy numbers, yeah.
For death. They're going to kill so many more people.
Unless she starts going after the crowd, 30's not logical.
Yeah.
However, if the crowd is involved, I go back to my 30 number. At least 30. Next is, God help us, Bethesda.
There have been some developments since last E3. I don't know if you heard.
Oh my god.
There's everything related to Fallout 76, and if you want more on that, please go check out Matt McMuscle's excellent What Happened series. It's about game development catastrophes, basically. And he has a video on Fallout 76 that will explain way more than we could here. But we're talking about incomplete games that should have been recalled, servers that are running on thoughts and prayers, a public recall for the shitty non-canvas bags that were supposed to be in the pre-orders, leading to people seeing everyone's personal information. It is a mess. And let's not even get started on some more recent things like that whole campaign Bethesda made for one of their RPGs that turned out was lifted verbatim from a D&D one, with actual passages and character names lifted verbatim off of this other project. Yeah. So, holy shit, Bethesda! Finally living up to what I've been telling people about you for years. Dave, why don't you go first on this one?
Oh my god. Okay. So, Bethesda as a developer is just a giant shit pile of deceit, prayers, and garbage.
Held together by twine.
I mean, Fallout 4 was only good because of the players making mods. Fallout 76 only became slightly bearable because of mods support people started adding to it that Bethesda didn't even like. And fuck them. There is hope out of the Bethesda conference for one reason.
Doom.
They are also a publisher.
Doom!
So, we've got Doom and we've got Wolfenstein.
Doom Eternal, it's called, right?
Yes.
And Wolfenstein 4D, finally!
No.
Breaking the fourth dimension.
No, Wolfenstein Youngbloods.
4D.
Where you play as their daughters.
BJ Blazkowicz's daughters.
Which we're not actually sure is actual canon in the storyline or not. Because there is an actual Wolfenstein 3 being made that takes place between the two. So, don't know what's going on there, but I am sure it's going to be a blast. They're doing it in a style much like Dishonored, which means that we're going to be able to do a lot more interesting stuff in it than just your typical Wolfenstein game. So, cool.
Cool.
Doom 2, or Doom Eternal, rather. It's about fucking time. And I want them to give us a release date of that fucking day. Because I want to play Doom Eternal something fierce. Between the new enemies, the new movement types, the double-barreled shotgun, I want this game. And, I mean, we're going back to Earth with it all being fucked up. So there's no keeping a bunch of stuff from the original Doom storyline. I'm saying story in quotes. Because the only time that series actually had a storyline was the books, and the less it talked about there, the better.
Oh, books can add a lot of source material to something. Look at Blaster Master Zero. But we'll get to that.
I will say, though, if you're a fan of the original Doom games, and you want to read a couple of fun books, the first 2 books to the actual Doom novel series, the original, not the new ones, was actually a fun romp, but then do yourself a favor and stop.
What are their titles and authors?
You're fucking with me, right?
So, find those first 2 books, but kind of hope that they're the ones Dave's talking about.
Hang on.
And not 2 other books that are also related to Doom.
Hang on, just shut the fuck up.
Well, while you're looking for that,
I've got them.
Okay, what are they?
The first one's called Knee Deep in the Dead. The second one's called Hell on Earth. Stop there.
Gotcha. You heard it there you heard it.
Bravo.
Yeah. So, my thoughts on Bethesda are Doom Eternal, and let's have. Here's the thing about Todd Howard. Yeah, Todd Coward is a notable name, but I also like when he makes fun of the Nazis. So there's hoping more of that. I can't hate Bethesda entirely when they're so willing to just put Nazis on blast, because fuck Nazis. Is that too far? Me doing it on the podcast, or
no?
I'll take all this out.
No.
Okay.
Fuck Nazis.
Thank you. I won't take it out then. Here's my out there prediction. Baron of Hell, new Smash Brothers character. All of my out there predictions are going to involve Smash Brothers in some way.
I never said any. out their predictions for one main reason. Outside of them publishing something decent, the only thing they can really say is either their new space game or their new one based in the Skyrim universe.
Elder Scrolls.
The new Elder Scrolls game is all of a sudden happening next year, kind of thing.
Well, as you mentioned, you're the voice of reason, so you can leave the out there predictions to me.
Yeah, they've already said that they're years away from either one, so good.
Years away from getting either to an alpha state and therefore release.
Just unfreaking okay. It's not unbelievable because it's Bethesda. Bethesda launches great game platforms ish for people to fix.
Sure. And they're still widely regarded as one of the best developers in the Western Hemisphere, which still irks me a little bit, but again, I can't be mad about people who hate Nazis as vehemently as they do. Daphneil, who's next?
Ubisoft.
I'll go first on this one.
Sure.
I don't care about anything Ubisoft shows. The one game I actually cared about was that new Assassin's Creed one that was in the Greek one because of the potential for the Yuris and the Yaois, and I didn't end up getting it. So I have nothing for Ubisoft. I don't even have a prediction. Maybe a Rabid or Rayman in Smash, which honestly is a lot more realistic than the Baron of Hell.
I don't think we will see a new Assassin's Creed game this year. They're still doing stuff for the last one.
Mm-hmm.
There were some rumors they were going back to feudal Japan, or they were going into Sumerian time, stuff like that. But all these supposed screenshots have been debunked.
Assassin's Creed Future.
See, they have stuck to fantasy based off of actual historical times. I don't think they've actually dropped enough yet to go into the future.
Castlevania has gone to the future twice.
That's nice. As far
fuck you. Why don't you eat my whole ass?
Probably see Watch Dogs 3 this year. Not that anybody has any faith in Ubisoft pulling that off. Could we finally see Good and Evil 2?
Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Beyond Good and Evil 2? Could we finally see more than just a 30-second trailer? Maybe. That's really all I have to say about Ubisoft. I mean, I'm playing right now the Assassin's Creed game based in Egypt. And I've got to say, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I thought the whole loot drop stuff would be absolute garbage, but it's allowed me to mix things up in combat a bit, where you can switch between different types of weapons. And I mean, you can only equip 2 bows at a time, but going between a bow that I can actually hold the button down and actually direct the arrow is kind of cool for in combat.
So what Zelda's been doing since the N64.
Yeah. I've been having a lot of fun with both the setting, because I mean the architecture, much like the Titanic movie, how I could watch it and enjoy just on mute the architecture of the Titanic. The Assassin's Creed one based in Egypt does things amazingly, even showing off the pyramids with the original limestone caps on it, so it was actually a flat surface. Everything else, it's neat to see the architecture as it was meant to be at the time frame. So I'm looking really forward to getting out of this game and into the Greek times. I think it'll be a blast.
So Ubisoft will probably do a little bit more for you than for me, then.
And that's just it. For me, the best Assassin's Creed game was Black Flag because of the ship combat. Because, God, they nailed that.
I have another out there prediction for Ubisoft.
Sure, go ahead.
SSX Tricky, Shattered Earth.
Unfortunately,
you have to snowboard over the ruins of Earth floating in the void.
Unfortunately, wrong company.
It's tricking.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I fucked up chicken.
Yep, you sure did.
I did. Okay.
Next is Square Enix.
We will see more on Final Fantasy VII Remake, which, as friend of the show Keeks and I have theorized, is not going to be a remake but a sequel involving time travel. We saw a whole bunch more on Remake in the last Sony Not Direct. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. I'm getting a little bit more excited for it, more than I thought I would. Final Fantasy VII is a game I loved when I played, thought was overrated for many years, and now I'm slowly coming back around to realizing, no, it really was very good. Even if it's not my favorite Final Fantasy, it kind of deserves a lot of the praise.
It does because of the time frame and what it managed to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who's played that game has to admit the last third of that game was pretty fucking barren. You made the fun yourself out of that last third of the game.
Oh yeah, and it's a similar problem FF6 had. The last half of the game was kind of up to you to make it good. But I mean, this is why I also hope Remake is actually a sequel that's going to have time travel shenanigans, because then that means that the entire final act of the story, whether or not it's one whole game or it's divided into parts, like they were saying, is going to be something new and a follow-up and not just retreading old ground. And we'll see what happens after Dirge of Cerberus, which, beyond the 500 years later thing, is the latest point in time we have on that timeline.
Dirge of Cerberus wasn't 500 years later.
That's not even what I said. First of all, it's Dirge of Cerberus. You get that wrong every time. And second, I did not say it was 500 years later. I said, other than the 500 years later part, Dirge of Cerberus is the latest point in the timeline.
I would like if they would just integrate that game, take this shooting out of it and everything else, and take the storyline, put that into Final Fantasy VII, because it even lets go and bring Advent Children if they decide to put that in. Let's put the entire thing into the game. You're cutting it up, so if it's supposed to be 3 parts now, make it 4 or 5.
Advent Children would be much better off as a game than a crappy movie with amazing action scenes. So we'll definitely see more on Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
We'll probably see more on the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion, Shadowbringer, I believe it's called. Shadowbringers?
Yeah, because that's only a month from it being out.
They'll reveal some more on the Gunbuster, the Dancer, and whatever the third class is that they're adding.
There isn't one.
Sure there is. There's going to be a third class.
Nope.
We're going to hear more about the third class, and what's a good out there one for Square? Cloud in Smash Brother. A good out there one is one it's something that I would want to see and at the same time absolutely do not want to see, and that's Final Fantasy VI too.
Okay, so let me jump on this one because Square Enix does have some potential here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously 7 we're going to see more on.
Yeah!
That one's obvious. We are now a couple of years after Nier Automata has come out. And there has been rumors that, and quotes from the guy behind Nier, that he wouldn't necessarily be against doing a sequel to Nier Automata, like an actual sequel. Not one, other characters, hundreds of years later, different setting, but a true sequel. And Square wants this, because Nier Automata did fantastic on both sides of the ocean, and people want this game.
It's a good game.
I fucking want this game. Something fierce.
It's a good game.
My out there prediction would be for a Nier Automata 2 to be announced.
I think it's so funny that this is basically a game that's based off the bad ending of a Drakengard game.
Which all the sequels are.
That's based off the bad ending of the first Nier game. So will the sequel to Nier Automata be based off one of the bad endings of the last game, or is it going to be 2B9S
A2?
A2, it was A2. Yeah, I thought so.
And, again, spoiler, but shouldn't you start calling her 2E?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Those are the stupidest names. Look, Automata's great. 2B has a fantastic ass. Those names, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
What's the next one?
I'm not done.
I'm not done. Prick.
I would also like to hear about them doing a proper Chrono Trigger game. A Chrono Trigger 2. If you want, fine, go Chrono Cross. But I want a true remake where you basically scrap what you had and build it into a proper sequel. If you're going to put all this effort into Final Fantasy VII, how about actually reviving the Chrono Trigger game series by redoing Chrono Cross so that the non-moronic part of the fan base can see them doing a Chrono Trigger 3 or whatever they want to call it, where you don't have to wipe out everything that was good from Chrono Trigger 1. Still my out there predictions.
Gotcha.
I'm good with Square for that.
Fuck Chrono Trigger. What's next?
Nintendo.
Nintendo, I think we're going to see more Zelda. We're going to see more of Link's Awakening. Hopefully we'll see more of Metroid Prime 4, but given that development restarted not too long ago, I'm not sure how much we're really going to see. I don't think it's so out there that we might not see anything at all, but there's a good chance we'll see nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see more on that game whose title I forget, that's by Platinum, that we saw in that last direct that looked really good. We will hear about at least the next DLC Smash Brothers character after Joker. We'll get at least one surprise. It might be an indie-related surprise. Because the president of Inta Creates has said that he wants to do a Zelda 2 remake, I hope we hear something about that. That's maybe the most out there thing I'm willing to bet. Oh, and Doug Bowser is going to make jokes about how he's actually Bowser, but not.
Fair enough. So, yeah, we're definitely going to see more about Link's Awakening. I don't think it's completely out there to think that we could see the first teaser/screens for the new full 3D Zelda game.
What are you saying, Link's Awakening, not a full Zelda game? I know what you mean.
That's why I said 3D.
You don't need to. It's 3D. It's polygonal. I hear what you're saying. I'm teasing you.
We'll see more about Mario Maker. Probably hear about the new Animal Crossing. I don't think we're going to see anything on Metroid, simply because of the whole reboot of the development process. I heard they scrapped a lot of crap. Other than that, though, maybe we'll hear about the new Mario game. We're not going to hear about the new hardware.
The Switch Mini, the rumored Switch Mini.
I heard that name and I just kind of put that in my mind because it was stupid. Because a Switch Mini would basically be a DS at that point. No, I'm talking about the rumored cheaper version that has a less impressive screen, cheaper materials, but will be able to be sold at a cheaper price.
So the Switch Mini, I think we're thinking about the same thing. I think this is the same thing we're thinking of.
Fair enough. Other than that, we'll also see probably the first full trailer for that full-blown Pokemon game.
Oh, yeah.
That's on the Switch for the end of the year.
Sword and Shield.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good prediction.
So I think that's a given because that is going to be Nintendo's moneymaker for the second half of this year.
Yep, Pokemon's a fad that just seems to be immune to the effects of entropy.
And so, I got to admit, after being semi-disappointed with the Pokemon Go Pikachu...
Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
I'm looking forward to an actual full-blown Pokemon game on the Switch because the graphics were fine. I just didn't like the Go mechanics. Now, maybe I need to put a little more time in it, it'll grow on me, but I was looking for more Pokemon and less Pokemon Go in the game. So that's a fault with me buying the game than really the game itself. I should have known what I was getting into.
No, I don't think so. There were definitely enough not Go mechanics to make you think that maybe it would be worth it. I wouldn't be surprised if Pokemon Sword and Shield has a Go style mode in it to make use of that Pokeball Plus accessory that they were hawking for.
But it'll be something you can turn on or off. It won't be the game.
Or that'll be how the Safari Zone works, or whatever the Safari Zone is in this game, for example.
Yeah, so I mean that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. Yoshi, we won't see if we do see a new Mario game. I don't think we'll see a new Kirby or Yoshi game because I mean they just came out here recently. But other than that, I can't think too much. I really expect from Nintendo right now. It's just them continuing on with what they've shown us.
Was the Kirby really that recent?
It's this year.
The Kirby Star Allies was not this year.
No? Late
Kirby
last year?
No, it was like the year before that.
Oh.
It had a bunch of DLC.
Huh, okay.
So we might see a new Kirby.
Could also see a new Mario Kart, but I think right now they'd be wise to hold off on that, simply because right now a lot of kart games are launching.
Yeah,
we have the new Sonic Racing game that, in my opinion, looks like shit.
Team Sonic Racing, and it doesn't. You're on crack. There's a Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which just keeps getting more and more features.
Which looks like it's going to kill Sonic all to heck. I like the last Sonic Racer, Sonic Transform.
Sonic All-Stars Racers Transform. It's the same devs.
I know, but they've gone to a whole point-based system. You can do some co-op stuff, which I think is neat, but I'm just looking for a normal kart racer. I'm not looking for anything else. And they've gotten rid of the whole shifting back and forth in races, and I think they've actually gone back in the new Sonic Racer.
Maybe. I can see that. There definitely is some things that are a lot different.
Also, no Sega characters other than Sonic characters.
They wanted to focus on the Sonic characters.
And no other levels other than Sonic levels.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, I get it. They want it to be a little more franchise loyal, I guess. Funny enough, I do hope the next Mario Kart is more like a Nintendo kart, like Super Mario Kart 9, but it has all kinds of characters, you know? I would love to see the Dark World Pyramid from Zelda 3 as a track, right? That'd be a fucking amazing track. But yeah. What's next?
Well, that's all that's announced on Kotaku's site, but they left out one of the big ones.
Which is?
EA.
Is EA even having a proper presentation this year?
You know, I'd be surprised if they weren't. Okay, well, actually, EA is not doing a traditional press conference. They're doing a series of live streams.
Good, because honestly, I don't think I've ever been terribly into any EA proper conference presentation, so I can just skip these and call it a day. That's fine with me.
I mean, EA is a company I love to hate.
Me too. Let's talk about how much we hate them. Fuck those guys.
Well, I mean, EA may be the single most disliked video game company, and they may be the reason for the loot box. They are the reason for the loot box bill being introduced in a co-signed bill in the U.S. against loot boxes.
Fuck Republicans. Fuck the GOP. This is one time I'll say that they did something right, is to introduce this bill. I still don't believe they're doing it for good reasons, and that party still needs to be jailed. But, yeah, I do think there needs to be laws against predatory game pricing practices. Do you think Sony's going to have enough direct coinciding with E3? I would be surprised if they didn't.
Probably of some sort, but Sony was pretty adamant they were skipping E3. So if they do a direct, or a not direct.
What do they call it? They call it, PlayStation Experience or something?
Yeah, whatever. It'll happen before E3 happens.
Sure. Maybe a better format for them, to be honest, because, like I mentioned earlier, the first one they did suck, but the last one, it showed some pretty hype stuff. So maybe just a better idea.
Ultimately, here's a rule behind these directs.
Uh-huh.
Shut up, show what you want, and then end it.
I think you can have some comedy, like what Nintendo used to do.
Absolutely. You can have comedy, but don't get up on stage and imagine you're in front of a bunch of stockholders.
Yeah, those are the worst.
We don't care.
You're allowed to do that if you're Devolver. No other company's allowed to. There might be some other little ones, like last year there was one by
You're talking the unofficial ones.
yeah, some of the unofficial ones. There was one by a company that makes hard copy versions of formerly digital games.
Yes.
And it was a cute little presentation. I don't remember their name. It wasn't anything special.
One Run Games.
Something like that, yeah. Limited Run Games.
Limited Run Games.
Yeah, that was nice. Maybe they'll do something again.
Well, and we're probably going to have another PC one. But,
yeah,
for the love of God, please do not let what happened last year where it was so... I want to say icky, but that's not the right word in this case.
No, it was icky. It was gross.
It was actually uncomfortable. I mean, if you can't make comedy happen naturally, or at least plan it out properly, don't try it.
They're PC gamers. They're not good at anything. You can't see this, people, but Dave and I are glaring at each other right now.
Pardon fucking me.
Fuck PC gamers. Present company, except, of course.
Console noobs. Underpowered shitholes.
Sure, better gamers than you. Consistently, every generation, PC games have been less good than console games as a whole. Every single generation.
Right.
Everyone. The best PC games of the 80s and 90s didn't even hold a candle to the NES or the SNES. Not even a candle. Yeah, for every Doom 2, and TIE Fighter, there were tens of amazing titles on the consoles. It's been that way basically for our entire lives. You're just in denial, Dave. In denial about your inferior platform. That should be the superior one given all the power, but you're just too busy mining your bitcoins to worry about good game design.
Gross. Well, seeing as we're on this topic, so is the next generation of consoles the last one, or is once again, do these people have no fucking idea what they're talking about?
What do you mean?
Well, just like with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, how all the analysts were like, is this the last console generation? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm getting really tired of them saying this every generation, because no. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox 2, I'm just going to call it that right now, and let's say the Nintendo blah, is not going to be the last generation of consoles, because as long as people want to play video games, people don't just want to play games on their phones. And these analysts seem to have this idea that, yeah, people play a lot of games on their phones now. Absolutely. But the idea of coming home and playing a game on a computer or on a console is not going away just because, Google wants to make a cloud streaming service.
No, it's because these people don't view games as art; they view games as products. And even if capitalism was abolished tomorrow, I'm not lucky enough for that. But let's say it was, and we finally progress as a society, there'd still be new consoles.
Yeah, like, it's just like I get so tired of seeing things pop up on my Facebook of, analysts say that in 5 years, 2 billion people will stop playing PC games.
Now, are they saying that because those 2 billion people will be dead?
No, because that might be a factual thing. People are not going to abandon a platform they like playing on. Unless, exclusives go one way only, or, the entire orchestra... Okay, let me try and put that back together.
Please.
Or if the way that we play games and the architecture of our operating systems change in such a dynamic way that it forces you to change.
Even if holodecks happen, and I can privately fuck Kira Nerys like I've dreamed about, I'm still going to want to play the next 2D Mario, or the next 2D Sonic, or whatever. even with holodecks and holosuites.
Now look, I go for PC game versions over console versions because in many cases, I do get higher frame rates. I can play it on my awesome monitor, and it just ends up being usually a better graphically enhanced game. But there are also PC versions that are absolutely awful ports. But that's my decision. For multi-console games, I have that choice. It doesn't just mean that all of a sudden I'm going to go one way or another. I own all the systems. These analysts just piss me off. Also because they can never seem to actually back up their words. It's just like, we think it's going this way. And why?
Well, they've been thinking this for years. They're dumb. Like, if only they didn't have clout or made money, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much E3 in a nutshell. I mean, we're not going to see any new portable systems anytime soon.
Well, yeah, the Switch, Nintendo considers it both a TV console and a portable console.
Yeah,
so.
Which I actually prefer them to go that route because then I get the best of both worlds.
Sure.
The day the 3DS actually died as a system, I actually cheered.
Why? The 3DS is a great system.
But I mean, I like the fact that I can buy the games and play them on my TV. I've said that for years and years and years, and I love it. But we're not going to see a new Sony portable anytime soon.
The Vita 3? You're just going to skip 2.
Sony should just stop. If they're not going to support it in the long term, just don't. I mean, there are so many things they did wrong with the PS Vita. Number one, you locked this into a memory card that was more expensive than everything else in the plant. Dropping actual support for it and not actually making games for it was their next problem. I mean, look how they treated the PlayStation TV.
Dave, did you read Nimona?
I think I have amnesia about that.
I'm taking it back today. You can read the webcomic, clearly.
The horror.
We were supposed to talk about the major motion picture in 2021, I think. Nimona.
I just didn't.
Released by Fox.
I wanted to read it, but I just didn't have time this week.
Noelle Stevenson's, who I am now a huge fan of. She's a producer, showrunner of She-Ra and the Princess of Power. It was her webcomic turned real comic turned Fox movie.
Oh, so it's a Disney movie.
Fox.
So Disney.
Disney.
Yeah.
Fox.
So does that mean the main character of this one will become a Disney princess?
I was going to mention that, but the main character is not a princess, so they could make her one, I guess. I just hope that being a Disney movie will not take away the LGBTQIA plus aspects of Nimona. But I don't think Noelle Stevenson would stand idly by and let that happen. So
probably not.
We're going to talk about that, but I guess not. I guess the name I was going to use for this podcast episode can't be used. It would just be a giant spoiler. So fuck. You ruined me, Dave.
Sorry.
You probably didn't even finish the Blaster Master Zero games like I told you.
I told you that wasn't happening.
Fuck me. Well, you ruined everything, Dave. We might as well just end the podcast.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Two Fat Guys Talk. The Sword vs. Moonrod art is by the talented Red Caliburn. Find her on Instagram and DeviantArt. RedCaliburn. Music tracks used were Bit Bit Loop and Good Nightmare by Kevin MacLeod, found at freepd.com. Be sure to visit our site at animerave.xyz for more of this podcast and for Carlos and Dave Anime Rave, the best anime review and reaction show on the internet. If you like what you heard and can afford it, help keep us going by becoming a patron via the Patreon link on our site. If you can't afford it, no worries. Just spread the word. As always, thank you for listening.